Redfin has officially called it quits. Just last week, they told shareholders that they plan to stop their home buying program. In addition, they will be laying off 13% of its workforce. This is now the second of the iBuyers that have gotten out of the iBuying business. The first being Zillow, which got out in November of 2021. The Phoenix market was the first market that really saw these iBuyers in buying up homes in the market. OpenDoor started buying homes back in 2014, OfferPad then started a few years later, and then Zillow started in 2018. Phoenix really became ground zero for all of these iBuyer programs. Because of this, the Phoenix market unfortunately saw these iBuyers competing against one another, running up these home prices to then turn around and sell them for a higher price. This is one of the biggest reasons why our home prices went up so quickly. It is also one of the reasons why our affordability got so out of whack. These iBuyers are really focused on that price point where first-time home buyers buy, which is one of the reasons those buyers got priced out so quickly. This is also the reason when you look at these numbers, you can see that the prices between $300,000 and $600,000 have dropped most dramatically. And these sold price per square foot numbers are the most dramatic in the price point between $500,000 and $600,000, showing a 12.3% decrease since our peak in May. In an article by Fortune, they said this: while the ongoing housing correction has hit the entire country, it's particularly sharp in bubbly housing markets like Phoenix and Las Vegas. Now, I have talked about this in other videos. This seller, the iBuyer, is what our distressed seller looks like in our current market. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so I wanted to take you actually into our MLS system. And what this is going to show you is I'm going to look at OpenDoor, I'm going to look at Redfin, and I'm going to look at normal sales and the differences in the prices from the list price to the sales prices, as well as how many times they had to reduce their price before they got it sold. So these first homes are OpenDoor sales. So you can see that this one sold at $395. So when you go into this history tab, you can see that it originally listed for $495. You can also see these indicate price reductions, every single one of them. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 price reductions, 6 price reductions before they got to 401 as their final list price, and they ultimately sold it for $395. Now, again, this is OpenDoor. Now I want to show you something else. So it sold for $395. And now I want to take you in here and show you what they purchased it for. They purchased it for $477,400. So that's the difference from when they bought it to what they're selling it for. So they're selling it for a loss. So let's go into this next one. So this one sold for $490, and they originally listed it, for $650. So let's count how many price reductions we had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Wow. Until they got to $496 as the final list price, and they sold it for $490. Want to see what they paid for it? They paid $617,500, and they sold it for $490. That's a huge difference. Okay, so now let's look at the next one. It sold for $577,500. Its original list price was $733. So how many price reductions did they do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 price reductions, 6 price reductions, 7 price reductions until they finally got to $606 as their final list price and sold it for $557,500. Let's see what they bought it for. They paid $685,100. Again, big loss. Okay, so let's take a look at another one. So this one was originally listed for $817. It sold for $690. Let's see how many price reductions they did. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see. 6 price reductions until they until they finally got to a price at $704, and they sold it for $690. That is a huge difference between original list price to sales price. So let's see what they paid for it. They paid $788,100. Huge difference. I mean, these are $100,000 plus differences from the purchase price that they bought it for and the sales price. Okay, so now let's take a look at some Redfin listings and see what they bought them for, how many price reductions, the whole thing. So Redfin, they bought this house for $449,900. They reduced it all the way down. Let's count. We got 2 price reductions. They got to finally at $399,900, and that's what they ended up selling it for. Let's see what they bought it for. So they paid $430,000, which is a difference, but not as drastic as OpenDoor. Okay, here's another one from Redfin. They had it on the market for $489.9. They had to reduce it all the way down to $499 before they ultimately sold it for $435. What did they pay for it? They paid $444. So not as big of a difference again, but still they are selling them for a loss. So then take a look at this last one. And something to note is that Redfin does not have as many homes that they own here in the Phoenix market as OpenDoor. OpenDoor by far has a huge market share here in the Valley. So this last one here that is owned by Redfin, originally listed for $599.9. They had to do let's see, 4 price reductions, got it down to $499.9, ultimately sold it for $495.5. And they paid $550 for this. So this one was probably one of the bigger losses that they had out of these that I just showed you. And again, I just wanted to look at the homes that have sold the most recent as well, because if we go back too far, it's going to skew these numbers. This is more real time, showing you how much of a discount these iBuyers are having to discount these homes to get them sold in today's market. Okay, and the last one that I want to show you, these are normal sellers. There is a huge difference between iBuyers and normal sellers and what they're willing to discount, what they have to discount. Again, so I'm looking in the same price points just so that we're trying to compare apples to apples the best that we can, and homes that have sold the most recent. So these are recently closed homes, just like we looked at with OpenDoor and just like we looked at with Redfin. Okay, so this home was put on the market for $395. They actually did a price increase to $397.5. They then had to do 5 price reductions. They were small, which is not, if you've watched any of my other videos, it's not my advice ever to do these tiny little incremental price reductions. It's not the best, but they ultimately sold it for $367. So from $395 to $367, it's not a huge $100,000 price reduction like we were seeing with OpenDoor. Okay, this next one, this again, normal seller. They listed it originally for $450. They did 3 price reductions, ultimately listed it at $418 to sell it at $408. Again, pretty typical negotiation, some money off of the house, but not drastic. Okay, here's another one. This is again a normal seller. Originally listed for $460. They did 3 price reductions to ultimately get it down to $430 when they got a contract for $430. Now, for these normal sellers, I didn't go into the tax records to show you what they purchased the home for, because 65% of our homes currently on the market right now, they have been owned for more than 2 years. So it's not an apples to apples comparison. These iBuyers are buying them, doing minimal repairs, if any, and then putting them right back on the market. That's why they're losing so big. Just from the examples that I gave you, this is one of the biggest reasons I caution people on where you're getting your information. You need to make sure you're getting the whole picture. I know there are some people out there saying that the entire Phoenix market is crashing, and that's just not the truth. Now, I am not trying to dispute that our housing prices have come down from their peak in May, like I just showed you. But the sellers that are hurting the most are the iBuyers and the builders. And those are the sellers that are affecting our home price appreciation the most. When our market shifted, these iBuyers had to pivot and pivot quickly. The CEO of Redfin, Glenn Kelman, said this to Fortune. We notice immediately when fewer people are on our website and fewer are signing up for tours. We're sitting on $350 million worth of homes for sale that we bought with our own money, or worse, bought with borrowed money. And what we always told investors is that we would protect our balance sheet by acting quickly. We don't have hope as a strategy. We immediately started marking things down. And reducing prices is really the only play these iBuyers have. Rick Palacios from John Burns Real Estate Consulting said this. These iBuyers adjust home prices almost like clockwork if a home doesn't sell. So in submarkets where they have a presence, they are also price setters in a faster way than past cycles. Now, we are seeing some of that in our Phoenix market, but as you saw when I showed you the non-iBuyer homes, they are not reducing their prices as drastically as these iBuyers are. And they are still selling. In fact, the Redfin CEO agrees that iBuyers, as well as other investors who piled into the market during this boom, are helping to drive prices down faster this time around. For normal sellers, there is a psychological aspect to home prices. They don't want to lower their price unless a personal situation forces their hand. And that's just not how these algorithm-run iBuyer programs work. They want out first, and they are not afraid to cut aggressively to do so. Which is why we are seeing from some of these iBuyers $100,000 plus differences between list price to sales price. And they are selling for a loss for what they bought the property for. Now, currently we have about 2,300 homes in the Phoenix market that are owned by one of the iBuyers. These iBuyers have all been aggressively selling their homes over the past few months, and they have all really pulled back in their home purchases. Now, as I said, Redfin currently only has 30 homes available for sale in the Phoenix market, so I would anticipate them getting through that rather quickly. The big player in our market, and has been for a while now, is OpenDoor. And they too have significantly reduced the number of homes that they are purchasing every month, but they are also rapidly slashing their prices to get these homes sold and off their books. And that is hurting our home price appreciation number, and very specifically in that first-time homebuyer section of the market. Now, if you like this video and you want to see more about what OpenDoor is doing to our market here, take a look at this video. If I can ever answer any questions, please feel free to reach out and call me. As always, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.